Most of us know what a tornado siren or a fire alarm sounds like.
But for someone who's deaf, they have no idea. They have to rely on things like flashing lights or someone telling them where to go. That concern is what inspired a Champaign High School student to look into it, and she is hoping by asking these questions, she's going to bring about some change. WCIA 3's Courtney Bunting is live in our control room. Courtney, she wants to know what schools are doing about this.
All right, Jennifer, and I tried to get that answer as well. I called Champaign Public Schools and also emailed them several times, and I haven't been able to get a clear answer. But this student says she's not just concerned about schools alone. She said she's worried about it everywhere. In an emergency, most of us know time is of the essence. That's why we run drills over and over. But what do you do if you don't even know what the emergency is?
Some of them were confused, and it was like they didn't have an idea of what went on.
That's the scenario Centennial Junior Caitlin Lacey says many of her deaf friends encountered last week when a tornado siren sounded. Lacey says those friends felt lost.
I could hear the announcements and the bells, but I realized that there was nothing for someone who's deaf to know what's going on.
There have been alerts for tornadoes, and the deaf people just don't know anything about them.
Susan Draymond-Weiss teaches American Sign Language at the U of I. She feels federal regulation should be put in place to keep people who are deaf or hard of hearing in the loop.
They have what's called an Amber Alert, what's on the phone, and that lets people know whenever there's a missing child or license plate that people need to be watching for. They should have something like that for a tornado for the deaf.
Draymond-Weiss believes schools aren't the only places that should notify them.
I think all public places should have it, especially even a hospital. An airport, definitely.
We've made the school wheelchair accessible, but not deaf accessible.
20 years ago, Draymond-Weiss said she did order some smoke alarms that also had weather alerts for hard of hearing or deaf people. But she said they were too complicated, and the deaf community, for the most part, gave up on them. Jennifer?
All right, interesting. Thank you. The National Weather Service has options for people who are deaf or hard of hearing. There are a lot of off-the-shelf weather alarms that have flashing lights or vibrating features. Many also have text readouts.